Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, so today we're exploring this really fascinating system that literally operates right in the background of our global economy. You know, every single day, massive amounts of oil are transported across our oceans, and it's an absolute logistical marvel, right? But it obviously requires some pretty airtight safety nets. So how do we actually ensure our coastlines are protected from the sheer scale of all this transport? Well, the answer lies in a super clever legal framework that basically acts as an invisible shield for our shores. I'm really excited to guide you through how these maritime laws visualize and manage global risk. Let's get right into it.
Here's a super quick look at our agenda for today. We'll start off with the maritime safety system, then we'll look at the strict 2,000-ton rule, move right along to the physical port checkpoints, and finally, we'll uncover the insurer's direct shield.
All right, Section 1, the Maritime Safety System, also known as Universal Passports for the Seas. So, to make this really easy to visualize, you can kind of think of this whole system like a universal passport for the seas. Because when ships are traveling the globe, bureaucracy could so easily create this absolute nightmare of paperwork at every single border, right? But Section 189 of these maritime standards brilliantly avoids all that through what we call global trust. Basically, a pollution liability certificate granted by any competent foreign state is fully accepted at any port in India, period. By standardizing this trust, the maritime world ensures that safety and financial readiness are universally recognized without all those endless, frustrating delays.
Moving on to Section 2, the 2,000-ton rule, the crucial tipping point.
2,000 tons. That is the magic number here. Just picture an absolutely immense vessel carrying that sheer volume of bulk oil cargo. The law basically recognizes that at this specific scale, the potential financial and environmental stakes are just way too high to leave to chance. So the rules strictly state that any vessel carrying over 2,000 tons of bulk oil absolutely requires a mandatory certified proof of financial security. Without this specific certificate, a ship cannot enter a port, it cannot leave a port, it can't even attempt to enter or leave. This is a strict, bright-line rule ensuring that once a ship hits that massive capacity, maximum financial preparedness is officially activated.
And what's actually really interesting about this is just how universal the rule is. You know, you might think domestic ships would get a free pass, or maybe foreign ships face different hurdles. But no, not at all. Section 190 applies equally and strictly to both Indian vessels and foreign ships. If a vessel is carrying more than 2,000 tons of bulk oil, it is held to the exact same proactive standard. It's just a completely level playing field designed entirely around keeping things safe.
Okay, Section 3, the port checkpoint, the bouncers of the sea.
Visualizing this process really shows just how seamless and proactive it all is in practice. It operates in 3 highly controlled steps. Step 1, the ship attempts to come in or head out of the port. Step 2, the master of the ship is physically required to produce that vital certificate of financial security we just talked about. And Step 3, only then does the proper officer actually grant clearance. These port officers are essentially acting as the bouncers of the sea. The law is incredibly clear here too. No proper officer shall grant entry or clearance unless that certificate is produced. It's a fantastic, impenetrable physical checkpoint that makes absolutely sure the financial shield is verified before any maritime movement even happens.
Which brings us to Section 4, the insurer's direct shield, the ultimate financial protection.
And this brings us to probably the most critical question of all. Who pays when things actually go wrong? I mean, when an incident occurs, the absolute last thing anyone wants is some prolonged, messy legal battle just to figure out where the cleanup funds are coming from, right? Well, this maritime law has designed a highly optimistic, fail-safe safety net to answer exactly that.
The really crucial point here is that the insurer takes direct liability. Section 191 dictates that claims for compensation can be brought directly against the insurer or the financial security provider. Just think about how empowering that is. Victims don't have to go chasing down some evasive ship owner who might be located on the complete other side of the planet. Instead, they can bypass the owner entirely and claim compensation directly from the insurer's massive ready reserves. It completely prioritizes speed and guaranteed action.
Now, to keep things balanced, the law meticulously outlines exactly what defenses the insurer can and cannot use. On one hand, the insurer is allowed to rely on predetermined limits of liability, standard owner defenses, and willful misconduct by the shipowner. But, looking at the prohibited defenses, this is where the law really flexes its muscles to protect the public. The insurer is specifically banned from using the shipowner's bankruptcy or winding up as an excuse not to pay. Seriously, even if the shipowner's entire company collapses financially, the insurer's shield remains totally intact and fully accessible to the victims.
But while the insurer generously takes that direct hit to ensure fast cleanup and compensation, the overall framework does remain entirely fair. The law guarantees the insurer the right to require the ship owner to be joined in the legal proceedings. This just means the insurer isn't left holding the bag in a vacuum. They can legally pull the responsible ship owner right into the process to ensure full accountability across the board.
And this perfectly illustrates the strict, optimistic nature of this whole system. Section 191 concludes with this incredibly powerful mandate regarding the insurance funds. They are available exclusively for the satisfaction of claims under this chapter. What that means in plain English is that this money is entirely ring-fenced. It cannot be siphoned off by other creditors, and it definitely can't be tied up in some unrelated corporate dispute. The financial security is locked in for one noble purpose: cleaning up and compensating for pollution damage. It guarantees that the resources are exactly where they need to be, precisely when they are needed most.
It really is just a brilliantly proactive approach to global risk management. We've seen how standardizing trust creates universal passports, how a 2,000-ton rule enforces strict accountability, how port officers act as the ultimate physical checkpoints, and how direct insurer liability guarantees that cleanup funds are immediately accessible. So it leaves us with a pretty compelling thought. With these foolproof legal passports and impenetrable financial shields in place, what other massive global industries could learn from the maritime world's proactive safety nets? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep visualizing these concepts, keep learning, and I will see you next time.